One of the most daunting challenges facing any founder or small business owner is attracting your first 100 customers. Often you've got no money, but you know your product is good. The dilemma is, how do you get your product in front of the right people who really need it? In this video, I go over 10 tips used by these multi-million-dollar companies like Lyft, Snapchat, Uber, even Superhuman. I've mixed those strategies that I learned from them with lessons that I learned in my life. Let's get into it. Number 1, define your ideal customer. Starting with the most important question first up, ask yourself, who am I trying to attract? The wrong answer looks like a business tech employee, but in reality, the correct answer looks like this. A 20 to 35-year-old man who works in a 3-year-old tech business. He lives in San Francisco. He earns less than $1 million a year. He rents, and on the side, he works on his own software. The problem almost every single business owner has is that they don't narrow down deep enough to find their ideal customer. Go vertical and deep into a niche and not wide and broad. By going deeper, you'll be able to find customers that really love your product, and it'll be a perfect launch pad for your product because you're building yourself a loyal base of customers. It's so much easier to expand once you already have that initial group of people that already love your product, because you already have traction and there's people that can back up the claims that you're making, and overall that's what you should be going for. Number 2, own your audience. When you started a Facebook page a while ago, it was worthwhile spending money to attract followers to that page because that meant you were able to target them for free. But what happened is that Facebook changed its policies and now page owners have to start paying to target their own audience. Owning your audience means you own your own distribution. If you aren't already, make sure you're building a database of customers and clients and potentials for your business. One of the best ways to start doing this is to have an email list. Once you have their names and their emails, no one can take that away from you. You'll own your own audience. On screen, I'll have a few email list providers that I recommend. I would personally go with MailChimp because I've heard a lot of good things about it, but it's up to you to do your own research and find what works best for you. Number 3, nurture your audience. Owning your audience is just the first step to owning your distribution. Making sure that your audience is engaged is the next step to make sure that that audience is valuable to your business. It's not enough to just ask for someone's email address and to expect them to remember who you are and what you're doing. Build a relationship by maintaining constant, but not too frequent, contact with your database. An email newsletter is a great idea because to your customers, you'll be able to give them value, and make sure you're not posting anything that's irrelevant. Add value to their lives so that when they need something like your product, you're the first person who comes to mind. Number 4, scarcity. Superhuman has done this exceptionally well. They soft launched their app in 2017. Today, they have a wait list of over 180,000 subscribers long. The only way to become a member of this $30 email client app is by getting a referral from someone who's already a user. Their founder, Rahul Vora, I hope I pronounced that right, believes in finding the perfect product market fit before launching their product. Through this, they've been able to find and onboard the exact clients that they're targeting. They're actually vetting their customers before letting them in. And because of that, they only get really good reviews because that product is really made for that one ideal customer, and that's the only person they're accepting. And because everyone's loving this app and only a select few have access to it, everyone around them really wants to get in, and that creates scarcity. Number 5, treat every customer like customer zero. Here's another lesson we can learn from Superhuman. When you're signed up for Superhuman, the only way to get accepted is by going through an onboarding video call with a consultant from Superhuman. That might seem a little excessive, but it's been really effective for Superhuman. The onboarding process has turned almost every single one of their members into pro users. By doing that, the customers are using the majority of Superhuman's features. When they're doing that, they're getting the $30 worth of value. Treat every customer like they're your first and reap the rewards. Number 6, leverage established distribution channels. One of the biggest issues facing founders is getting their product in front of potential users. Often there's no capital to pay for attention, so you have to hack your way there. Use other channels that are already established to advertise your product. Let's say you're building a SaaS B2B product. Go to a community where there's already a lot of potential customers, sign up and start engaging with that community. Reddit, Quora, and other forum apps are a great way to get your message out there. Actually, Netflix had an employee who also did this. He signed up to all the forums about home video, DVD movies, and started engaging with that community over a few months. He then slowly started dropping the Netflix name as an alternative after he built some rapport. Number 7, community. Building your own community uses a sure way of building a valuable product that people don't want to leave. People have a desire to belong. When someone is an esteemed member of a useful community, they contribute to making that community better. Create an engaged community that makes leaving very difficult. The Hustle's Trends has done this exceptionally well. Their main offering is a weekly email with new trends. The most valuable part of that subscription fee is becoming a part of that community. It's a collection of engaged, intelligent business people who have experience. Number 8, go to where your customers are. There are multiple ways to do this, but one of them is doing paid ads. Another is actually going to where your customers are. People really value doing real world things. Actually, the founders of Etsy did this. They actually traveled to trade shows and markets around the States where vendors were showing off their products. These were their ideal customers. Other startups who have done this successfully are Lyft, Snapchat, Uber, just to name a few. Number 9, partnerships. A common mistake new founders make is trying to keep too much of the pie for themselves. Businesses rely on distribution, and distribution comes from connections. Connections are often mutual. You give me something and I'll give you something. Profit share partnerships are a perfect way of doing this because you're using another business's connections or network, and you're bringing your value or your product, and you're bringing value to a space where there wasn't any before. Don't be scared to get into agreements with other businesses to create partnerships, even if they're taking a part of your pie. It's revenue you wouldn't have otherwise. Number 10, encourage word of mouth. Unless you have a viral type product, people are unlikely to tell their friends about it. You have to prompt them to do it. An example of something you could be saying to your customers or fans is, if this was entertaining, valuable, or interesting for you, a few of your friends might also think so. So please share it with them and I'll be very thankful. It's simple, but it really works. If you don't ask, you don't get. The power of asking someone can have such a huge impact. It is surprising how by just asking, people really do share it with their friends. More important than any of these tips that I covered in this video is this one piece of advice. Be persistent. In this video, there have been mentions of multiple different companies that have used these techniques to become successful. But there's one thing that they all share, and that is their persistence. The number one thing you need to get your product or business in front of the people you want is to do the work. Day after day. If you're not gonna go get it, then it won't come to you. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. My name is Will, and I'll see you guys soon.